Welcome to Satsang. So this is 90.3, and it is understanding non-duality and how it can bring, in its simplicity, once we understand it, how it can bring so much peace and freedom, really, because we combine everything. And so I'd like to open with the quote from Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, verse 3. And he said, "Of what avail to debate whether the world is real or unreal, sentient or insentient, pleasant or unpleasant, extinguishing the ego, transcending the world, realizing the self, that is the state which is dear to all, and free from the sense of unity and duality." So here Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is saying that there is no duality. But the question, if you hear that and you say, okay, there's no duality, there's no right or wrong, there's no, there's only is, which is the truth, something in me rebels, because I'm not used to it, I'm conditioned otherwise. So how are we going to understand it? Okay, well there is a way to understand oneness, because it's all about oneness. There isn't really duality. And the way to understand it is this, and I ran across it many years ago through the Course in Miracles. And the Course in Miracles makes 3 statements, and these 3 statements cover the entire Course. As a matter of fact, if you understand these 3, you don't even need to read the Course. That's how powerful they are. And these 3 are this: nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. And herein lies the peace of God. Now let's understand the real from the unreal, because unless we know the difference between the real and unreal, we cannot bring them together. So you'll understand this as we go on, okay? Because everything that is negative is also part of the message that the world or evolution is giving us to pay attention to it and learn from it. For example, we talked about that what is real cannot be threatened. Okay, what is real? What would you say is real?
Being.
Being, that's true. Being. Okay, we cannot see it; it's invisible, but we know that being, here we are, being. Okay? So, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's in the same one. It's that awareness that is aware of itself, from which everything comes and everything goes.
Yes, everything comes and goes from it, but it itself doesn't come and go.
Right.
So what is real, we cannot define it because it's so powerful, but what is real is that which has no beginning, which has no end. It's eternal, timeless. So it really defies definition. We know it's there because here we are. We are the manifestation of the unmanifest, you see? So the real is the unmanifest, that which is invisible, okay? If you go into the only word that we can say about, the real, it just is. But from it comes everything that you experience now as your everyday life, as you, is this unmanifest, appearing as you. See, this is the most beautiful thing, is that once we understand the 2 opposites, then everything starts to become one. See, so if we go into what is unreal, because that which is unreal doesn't exist, says the Course, okay? So does that mean that since being is love, you mean fear doesn't exist? But I feel it, my body feels it, I suffer from it, people have committed suicide from feeling terror, people have actually died of heart attack from feeling terror, so what do we mean by fear doesn't exist? Okay, so as we go into, we'll find something very interesting. Now, this is, it might sound a little funny. You know that when you feel good, you feel good? Do you know that when you feel bad, you feel bad? Okay, now, they're both feeling. You see, they're both feeling. Now, what makes the difference between the two? You see?
Your judgment? Judgment of it.
It is very good. It is judgment. But let's understand it. You see, when we feel good, there is no one to say, I want to understand, or I'm confused, or I'm uncertain, or I'm this. You're feeling good. Okay? The question does not arise. But when you are uncertain, listen to this, uncertain about the real, when you're confused about it, when you don't know for sure, when you're trying to figure out but you can't make up with it, what happens? All these are called negatives. The negative is a seeking of the real, because what is insecurity? Strange thing. People are always trying to get rid of their insecurity. What is insecurity? Trying to become secure. Okay? The more insecure you feel, the more you try to be secure. More money in the bank, better secure job, maybe relationship, maybe this, something that I can hold and call my own. So all the time there is this battle going on between the real and unreal. The unreal is unreal. But the reason it's unreal is because in the final analysis it is a need for the real. So the only thing that exists is actually the real. You see? But now you might say, but why does it play such an important part in the human? It has to. See, this is when we begin to feel good. Because the human on earth suffers a great deal. But the suffering is all part of the negative fighting itself. So you see, so did you know that all pain is resistance to what is? You actually resist what is all the time. So you don't want to surrender. You don't want to allow. But what if this happened? What if that happened? You see, you are going like this. This fight is constant. But once you understand that the real is the only thing that is happening, it is only because somehow I've been given that choice to think that maybe there isn't something real, which is absolutely absurd, because here I am. I exist, right? So existence must be, but existence cannot be something tangible. Only an existing thing is tangible. Okay? So here is, we begin to see that what we call the negative, the fearful, is our greatest friend, our greatest teacher. Okay? You see, ordinarily when there is fear, it attacks the body. It attacks the body according to the fear that we are feeling. You know, it could attack the heart or the kidneys or the liver or other parts of the body according to, in the way we see it. Let me give you an example how fear attacks the body. You know, it is only recently that I discovered why my eyesight was going so bad. And there was a time, just almost a year ago, I was going to eye doctors and the eyes kept getting worse. I had surgery and they kept getting worse. It wasn't working somehow, I guess. You know, I was meant to do something different. But anyway. And then about 3 months ago, I heard a voice say, give up your glasses, because holding the glasses are just like a Band-Aid, using magnification so that you will see better, but in the same sense, it is causing a strain on the optic nerve itself, because it's using a crutch. So the glasses have to be changed after every few years and increased to become more, clearer to see. So anyway, so things kept getting bad, and then just a couple of weeks ago, actually, something came to me. I said, but if my eyes are this bad, or they have gotten this bad, and I've had them ever since I was, 12 or 13. But what happened then? And I was feeling it, and I left it over to the Holy Spirit. Well, believe it or not, the next day, I was sitting very still, and I remembered when I was a kid, I was in school, and I didn't like my teacher. I found him to be crude, I found him to be very intellectual, and on the board he was making algebra and geometry and math in a kind of a very scientific way, very intellectual and very uninteresting, very dull, to the point where I just didn't want to listen. I didn't want to hear it. So what actually happened is that he put me in the back seat. Okay, because I was kind of threatening him by my attitude. I was young, but I'm an Aquarian, very, very stubborn, very determined. Anyway, that sounds better. And so as he put me in the back, I found that I was actually, the blackboard started becoming foggy. Because I made up my mind, I don't want to see the blackboard. I don't want to see it. You see, I didn't want to see the teacher. I don't want to see the blackboard. And then I told the teacher, and I said, I can't see from back here. Okay, but when he placed me there, I could. But it started getting worse because I didn't realize how it was affecting my body. Saying, I don't want to see it. Life itself created a smoke screen, so to speak. Fog. And then the teacher came next to me, and he said, what do you mean you don't see the screen? I see it very clearly. And you don't see the blackboard? He said, I see it very clearly. And then it dawned on me, I can't stand this teacher. He doesn't even see that if I don't see, that doesn't mean he's going to be the same way. And then I told my father, and my father said, oh my God, that kind of a teacher. So he took me to the eye doctor, and they gave me glasses. Anyway, so that's the story. But from then on, wearing glasses, they had to change every few years. I didn't wear them all the time, but my eyes didn't improve. Well, a few weeks ago, when I got up, and I realized that this fear blocked my seeing, because I said, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see the blackboard. It actually came like a fog, not to see the blackboard. And my eyes kept getting worse. Well, the moment I realized this 3 days ago, I was able to read the last parts of the eye chart. And I looked down, and there is a sign there, right outside the window, which is a parking sign, and I could actually read it for the first time. Before, I didn't even know there was a parking sign. Okay. So this is how it goes. So right now I feel very inspired to tell you that fear is your friend. Fear, you need fear. Well, I said this before in many of my satsangs, but now more than ever is to don't go running to get drugs for it, or try to hide it, or try to block it, okay? Actually understand that whatever is going on with you is something you are creating, because we, being space, being pure energy, we are, we're actually perfect. Really, the body heals itself. So, but if we continuously defy those laws of the body, well then of course we're going to suffer. Okay, so therefore, after I read this Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, it was clear to me that I should be talking and explaining that the real and unreal is not an issue, because there's nothing but is. And once we see that very clearly, then we find peace and we find freedom, because that is eternal. There's no beginning or end to it. Okay. Now, I have a few questions from people. Maybe I could, yeah, you just lock it because it's quite windy out. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. You want some water? Oh, no, yeah, okay. Thanks. That's fine. And then receiving all these questions, I found there are two ways that people ask questions. Either they inquire, and inquiry is very good because inquiry leads you to understand. You know, you inquire this, for example, who am I? Or what am I? Or who is thinking this thought? Who is feeling this? Like this inquiry is very healthy. Okay? But then there is something like a question. Now a question, what does it trigger? What feelings does it trigger the moment you have a question about life?
Your insecurity, your not knowing, your something's wrong.
That's right. Very good. Very good. So the question is always there's a little fear in it. Okay? And once you find out what that fear is and you embrace it because fear is your ally. Fear is what actually will help you. You see, non-duality means this, okay? There's pure awareness, and then there is the consciousness of living the physical everyday life, which is mind, okay? Now, what I have found with people, or ordinarily, especially on the internet, computer, is that people never think about pure awareness. They always think about consciousness. You see? So how to raise their consciousness, how to have a better relationship, how to make more money, how to be better looking, how to have a better life, which is okay, which is fine, which is all part of the, you know, part of the game. But they never go into that I really want to know who I really am. And who I really am is more than consciousness. It is the I am. I am, okay? I am is pure awareness. And pure awareness is. That means that awareness being self-recognizing, it recognizes itself. By ability to recognize itself, then through that came consciousness. Okay, but it itself. So when a Buddha, you know, sat under the tree, the Bodhi tree, and he said, "I'm going to stay here until I awaken." Actually, he entered pure awareness, and in the state of pure awareness, he woke up. And so this is how awakening happens. You got this, yeah.
I was just going to say, I think that consciousness is not such a threat to the ego because it can make it into a spiritual ego trip.
That's right.
And pure awareness is the leap that makes all that you thought you strived for and attained, all your identification with how you've grown and become, becomes nothing.
Becomes nothing.
And that's usually too hard to take.
That's very, oh, you just explained it very clearly why people are not interested in pure awareness. Mm-hmm. They're interested in consciousness, you see? And consciousness, that this is the world we live in. Everything is consciousness because it is mind. All studies in philosophy, psychology, you know, it's all consciousness. But when we say, you know, somebody says to you, some enlightened master would come to you and says, "But you're God." And he's not talking about you're just consciousness, you are pure awareness. You see? You are it, the very essence of life beyond form. See, that is who you are. And then from that formless comes form. From the unmanifest comes the manifest. So what I found, and maybe we can have this talk short, is to go through these letters and try to understand or try to feel out what they're asking, that is coming from fear, you see, itself. So, okay, let me see here, let's take, this particular one, I named it number 1. I told him that I'm going to read it and help him in it. But this is not a question, this is a suggestion. Read the, yeah.
As a suggestion only, would there be an additional advantage in teaching a practical exercise of some sort, in line with the paragraph's content, to help shed off some of the more common pitfalls in an average person's day-to-day life that bind him or her to oneness? Thanks.
And now, and that's why I wanted you to read this as first. Because, yes, there are exercises, practical things you can do to meet that pitfall, those pitfalls. Now, what is a pitfall? What is anything that is happening that is detrimental? What is it?
The mind moves it back into its realm.
Yes, in other words, we create fear. Because the moment you are caught in, then you're confused. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I'm going. You know, I feel lost. Okay? So in other words, anything that creates a question about life and you want to get out of it, that is fear. So my suggestion to this person is this, that yes, you can have a practical thing you can do every day. Welcome every fear that surfaces, no matter how uncomfortable it is or no matter how subtle it is. The slightest thing, even a doubt. You see, even if a doubt arises. Like for example, you might be listening to Burt now, and you might raise the question, how do I know that what he is saying is true? Yes, okay, that's a legitimate question. So the point is, how do I feel about it? And turn inward to see how you actually feel in your heart, how it resonates. Because you see, when we listen with our mind most of the time. And so we listen to the way we've been conditioned, to the way we've been taught, right? But with the heart is one. The heart is being. So when you listen to the heart, you never make a mistake. And you just know. Because the heart doesn't really want an answer, it just wants silence. Okay? It just wants, I'm okay. Really? There's nothing wrong. You see? That's the answer of the heart when there is fear. So if you meet the fear head on, without trying to get rid of it, without trying to escape it, without trying to make sense out of it, just be with the fear. Immediately the fear is always something in the future, okay? Something that's going to happen. But at the same time, you feel it in the body in the moment, okay? Just like a person asked one time here, she said, well, what if I'm going to die in about 5 minutes or so? Isn't that fear real? And I says, yeah, but are you dead? No, you won't be dead for another 5 minutes. So what you're suffering is not because the fear is in the future. What you're suffering are the state,
You're projecting.
You're projecting into your body. Your body reflects how you feel. You see? So you either feel good or you feel bad. If you feel good, there's nothing to be done, because that is your true nature. That is who you are. But the moment you feel bad, that doesn't mean that you are suffering a lie. It means there's some fear, uncertainty, something unclear, something confusing, something you just, So if you try to run away from it, even if you try to figure it out, you become more confused. So what you need to do is sit with it. Now, definitely there is some movement in the body when there is fear. So sit with the body movement, how the fear feels to you, okay? Breathe into it and relax into it. Keep relaxing into it. Or you don't need to do more than 5 minutes of that. And then you'll find that the fear that was shaking you in the beginning as you sat and had the courage to do this, actually breathe and sit and feel it through the body, that in itself will bring a feeling of release slowly. You see? In time, when you start meeting each fear like this, you'll probably say and write me, says, Burt, why didn't you tell me this before? I've been doing this for 20 years. No, it happened so fast. It's true. If you want a speedy recovery to awakening, use fear as your teacher and embrace it. Don't see it as something wrong, because everything that happens in life, you'll understand something so beautiful. Nothing happens by chance. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. So every ailment that you have, everything that you're suffering from, everything has a reason. Now, you might not have to just know the exact reason for it, but knowing that nothing happens by chance and you're willing to experience it, that in itself will bring a change in that feeling aspect. You see? Because ultimately there's only one answer. And you know what that is? That one answer?
It's all one. It's all okay.
Yeah, it's all okay. It's that silence. Just here.
I have a question, and I might be separating something that might not need to be separated, but one is to experience the stimulation or the feeling of fear itself without polarizing it, just
That's right.
as a
Without
stimulus.
polarizing, without the story, without, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that in itself, for me, seems like then it emerges into just the experiential, and it has no power.
That's right.
The other one the other strain is the one where you explore it, take it down and feel more of what it touches and perhaps where it arose from.
Mm-hmm.
And that also seems to have worth, but the end result is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like there are kind of two paths. One is to just experience fear as a stimulus, regardless of what caused it.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is to take it and go backwards and kind of get in touch with where it arising started without processing, because if you process, you're back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That the reason I do not mention that, which is fine really, but if you go back to when it started, you can't help but going into the story.
Yeah, it's very easy to
You
get
see, and
seduced.
the moment you get into the story, you are caught in it.
Yeah.
You see. So by staying with it and the body relaxes, then as soon as the body starts to relax, the mind might still be slightly agitated, but what happens is by having a relaxed body, by having had the courage and the strength to do it, you will find that, oh, you feel so much better. Do you know that the moment you feel okay, the moment you say, I feel better, that the answer is right there. It doesn't have to be in a certain statement.
Right.
That is the answer itself, because there's a silence that comes. There's a
There's
sweet.
no place to get to.
There's no
It's-
place to get to.
Yes.
Another thing too about having a good feeling and not a good feeling. To define that, because see the hardest thing for people to understand is the difference between thought and awareness. And once we understand the two, we understand, like I said, the freedom and the peace of it. Now, and incidentally, before I forget, this is the latest booklet. The reason I wrote it was just to help people to understand between awareness and thought. And once you understand the difference, everything becomes clear. You can find this on my website, www.bertharding.com, and you can order it from there. Okay, it's only just a few dollars. But it's really worth reading, if I may say so myself. So anyway, so to go back to what I was saying, the difference between feeling good and feeling bad is so subtle, but we do not understand it. And it has to do with thought and awareness. Let me give you an example, and I gave this example before, but it's very apropos. There's a child and playing ball, you know, throwing the ball against the wall, and he's having a ball. He's really enjoying himself. The mother comes out, and you know, she's all lit up because she sees how wonderful he is having, wonderful time, and she said, "Son, are you having fun?" He stops to answer her, and all fun has gone. Okay, that is the difference between awareness and thought. Okay, see, the moment he stopped to think, was I having fun? See, he was being the fun itself. Okay, right. So that's the difference between awareness and thought. In awareness, there is no one having fun. There is only fun. If you're dancing and you're enjoying the dance and you're just one with the music, you don't care whether people are watching you or they're criticizing how you're dancing or anything. You're so gone with the music, you love it so much that at the moment you are just one with the music. That's awareness. You see? But the moment a thought comes, oh, maybe I'm acting stupid, maybe people will laugh at me. That makes the difference between feeling good and feeling bad. See how subtle it is? The two are very, very subtle. So the more we move into pure awareness, the more we move into our true nature, the happier and more beautiful we feel. You see, many people, when something bothers them, you know, and then I ask them, I says, you know, when something bothers you, let's talk about it, let's feel it out. And they say, well, I needed to process it. What do you think about that? When somebody says, well, I needed to process that feeling that I had because I was sitting with people, and I felt very self-conscious, and I didn't want to talk about it at the moment. I wasn't feeling good, but I needed to process it.
Depending upon what they mean by process, if they mean, which I don't think they do, I needed to feel the truth of my experience without judgment as raw experience.
And how long does it take to find if something is true? That's right. So it doesn't need any processing. It needs that immediate seeing. If I am feeling bad, I am offended, I am hurt, my self-image is crushed, maybe I'm not as good, maybe they're laughing at me, maybe I've done something wrong. You see what I mean? And then they try to figure it out, which they call I'm processing it.
Yeah.
And then the next day you find, oh my goodness, you know, you thought you dealt with it. But there is still that anger, because you see what happens when you don't deal with something right away? It becomes anger, okay? It becomes the need for control. And the moment it becomes the need for control, then here we are. You are a beautiful human being, full of life, full of joy, full of God, and all it takes is just trying to think about it, trying to figure it out, trying to see how real is it. Why did they laugh at me? Why did they do that? Okay, you know. But do you see what I mean when you say the difference between thought and awareness? See, if you see a one-year-old child, and they're smiling and they're laughing and they're so joyous and they're so great, they're pure awareness, pure being at that moment, you see? But the moment they become either spoiled or something happens after 3 years or so, they begin to develop this, you know, this ego thing, you see? Identifying with an image, how they should be, how they should feel. And according to the conditioning by the parents and society and everything else, that starts the thought. And then you become that thought. And then you really think you are this thought. And the people, when I Skype with people, they really believe that this is who they are. You know, I'm so confused and this is what I am, you know. No, this is not what you are. This is what you have established through your thought processes, and now is beginning to feel real.
They've kind of stumbled out of the Garden of Eden and tried to eat of the tree of...
Right. And all it took is knowing the difference between awareness and thought. Now, can we join them together?
Well, I mean, everything arises from awareness, including thought.
Very good. Very good. As a matter of fact, the moment you become aware of something, the thought starts. Either you judge it, or you say it's good or bad or right or wrong, or I like it or I don't like it. Immediately it goes back to your conditioning, to your thought processes. You see? So therefore, yeah, but that all came from awareness. Okay? But by knowing the difference between thought and awareness, even when the thought takes over, you still know the difference. But they are one. Consciousness and awareness, they're inseparable. They're inseparable. They're both eternal. You see? So this is where the confusion comes in with a lot of people. But when you see their oneness, then you begin to live from that aware state. And that the moment you know what awareness is, you have a glimpse, you have a knowing, that's enough. You see? Because the moment you think, the awareness says, no, that is a thought. You see? So let's go into some questions here and see what we can do about. Do you mind if he does all?
Go ahead. Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Read this here.
My relationship with my parents is no longer how it was. I question all they tell me and find that some of their beliefs are wrong. Their shoulds for me are not for me anymore. Their advice under the formality of wanting to help me comes at a cost for me when they are really wanting me to live their expectations of me. The words I use may be strong, but I now find them shifting and interfering. How can I feel this way when I love them and want to honor them, but I cannot do what they want me to do as I am free, as I feel so unfree when they insist that they only want the best for me? Unrequited love. The person who I am in love with does not feel the same way, but still wants to maintain a relationship and the financial benefits of doing so. My ambitious nature is no longer within me, and now my career is forestalled as I seek to find out what I really want to do, and I am at an impasse. Whew.
Yes, I am at an impasse, no wonder. Okay, so you saw here, this happens with a lot of so-called spiritual people. I'm not saying that she's a so-called spiritual person. Probably she is quite spiritual. But what happens is that we have an idea how we should be. And if people don't understand or they're not aware, okay, we judge them. Okay, so what happens the moment you judge someone? You become controlling, can't you? You want to change them, you want to fix them. And there is nothing more
Self-oppressing.
Yes. Trying to change others is so suffocating to you and to others. And you create the wall. Because love, oneness is love, oneness. We do not judge whether someone is aware or they're not, whether they're attending Burt satsangs or not. I just wanted to put that in. Okay? So it doesn't matter what you do. The thing is this, that when you bring the two one, okay, you actually are love itself. You do not separate because they are different, because they think differently, or they try to change me. If they're trying to change you, and you see that very clearly, they cannot change you. If to you, you see it very clearly. Somebody is trying to control you. Why does it bother you? Because there is a fear that you might be controlled. But if to you, you know that nobody can control you, because you know It's so simple, right? So the moment you know, let them try, you know. I mean, they still have other beautiful qualities, you know, and if they happen to be your brothers and sister or family or parents, you can love them very dearly and accept them as they are on that level. See, the moment you try to fix someone, okay, you create a lot of pain and separation. And so when she says, I am at an impasse, no wonder. No wonder. This is why we also get stuck. Because we read so much, we learn so much how spirituality is, how life is, and then we try to accommodate it. We try to make it that way. And you cannot make life. Life has to happen on its own momentum, because everything is perfect. God is perfect. Nothing happens by chance. So by knowing that, that's enough peace. You don't try to change anything. You don't try to control anything. You see? Is there anything you'd like to add?
Part of what I can see is a fear of a fear of being lost and inability to just be with that fear. So you need to project it out. It's you that's pulling me out of my center.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it could be beautiful if it can be sat with and felt. Then his own or her own fear and the fears of her parents can be a beautiful, compassionate rejoicing together of sharing that humanity that they both have.
That's right, at whatever level.
At whatever level.
Yes, yes, because we're all on the same journey anyway. You know?
Yes.
You know, and then the beautiful thing is love. It's not, you know. Right, okay, so let's go into number 3. This is a little bit, okay.
Do you want me to read it all? Or just the other?
No, just the under, just this one here. I underlined it because that was the major point.
Okay. Burt, to what extent should I not take my mind serious? And does positive thinking have a role, or is it just about letting the mind actively dissolve? How do I know if I am seeing my thoughts from my mind and not awareness? How do I know that I am still not under the mind's influence? In the background, I can still feel the tension from the streams of thought. I'm not acting them out as much, but would if I am just bottling it up. But how much? But would if I am just bottling it up.
Okay.
That's a quite good piece to jump off on. That's a quite good statement there. How do I know if it isn't just another trick of my mind?
Yeah. And how do you know if it's not another trick of your mind? How do you know if it's a trick of your mind?
Well, for one, there'll be no tension because you will be unidentified and
the
you'll
very
just be
fact
watching.
that you're asking is a trick of the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. The very fact that it's raising that doubt. See, what comes from awareness? There's no doubt. It's something that it's, when we talk about the heart, of course we talk about awareness, you know, something. It feels, how else could it be? You see what I mean? It's very clear. But when it comes from the mind, it always presents questions. A question is a quest. It always comes from the mind. You see? So take it very, very direct here, that it's all coming from the mind. And then it's okay. Because once you know it's coming from the mind, then you begin to see, I have to be very clear that mind has its own, but it's never certain. It's never completely clear. It's never, this is why there are so many people who are maybe atheists or believers or this. It's all mind. But in an awareness, there's no such thing. There's no awareness, there's no believer, there's no this, there's just knowing. And that knowing is clear.
And he doesn't have to think about dissolving his mind.
That's right.
That the mind's going to go. Just don't identify with it. It just
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be
Yeah.
erased,
No,
eradicated,
it
dissolved.
isn't destroyed or anything, right? Because the moment, try to fight the ego,
Oh.
and you'll end up with a huge monster. Yeah, you see. So make everything part of the learning process, and see, go back to what we were saying before. There's feeling good, and there's not feeling good. But the same feeling. Wow, what if you understand that? It's the same feeling. One is interpreted by the mind, the other one is resting from the mind. And it's in awareness. When the boy was playing ball, he wasn't thinking. He was having fun. He was fun. When the woman started dancing and she didn't care about because she was one with the music, she was the music. Awareness, you see? One with that. So, but the moment the mind came in, she lapsed. Then all the questions start to come out. All questions come from the mind. Awareness does not question. Awareness is. You see, that is the nature of being.
I just saw something that I had missed before.
Mm-hmm.
Questions as in quest, as in movement. And awareness doesn't move.
No.
It just sits.
It just sits. It is.
Questions all run around.
Right.
For lack of better
Right.
words.
It just is. And that isness cannot be understood because the very nature of the human is movement. Everything is moving. The cells of your body right now, they're changing at a rate that boggles the mind. You know, 1,000 cells die and relive again in just a few moments. You see what I mean? So all this is happening all the time, but we're not aware of that constant motion. You see, and awareness is the constant from which everything is happening, but it itself is not that. Okay? So, shall we take another one? Would you like to read it?
Sure.
Okay.
What,
Yeah.
Just-
just
start there?
Just start there. Yeah.
Over.
Yeah. Don't use the name.
Hello, Burt. I am trying to quit smoking. I have been at it for many years now. I have tried several smoking cessation methods, including Alan Carr's Easy Way, and it is just not working. I also seem kinda dependent, addicted to the idea of awakening, and watch many videos on the subject. Recently, many of Lisa, who often saying, "This is it. What is happening is just what is happening," and both of you are saying, "No one is there. You are not a person." Who here is choosing to suffocate itself then?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I actually feel quite desperate because I know it has and is seriously harming me, and I need help. Any ideas? Thank you for everything, Burt. Much love.
Yeah, I'd like to give some ideas because as a hypnotherapist, I used to deal with that. I didn't know it was about smoking, this particular one, but anyway, yes, there are things I can do. First of all, make sure that you really mean it, that you want to quit smoking. Okay, many people says, I want to quit smoking, but the subconscious says, no way, I need that cigarette because it relaxes me, it makes me feel good. What am I going to do with my hands, blah, 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 okay? So psychologically, we become addicted. So, now, so Take time to really answer this question, do I really want to stop? If you feel you really want to, okay, do the following. Don't stop smoking, but next cigarette, when you smoke, feel the in-breath. Feel that smoke filling your lungs. Isn't that wonderful? And just smell it. Stay with it. Be totally aware. Give it your full attention as you smoke it. And be aware of nothing else but that. Then, at the end of the day, be aware of how many smokes you've had. And then the next day, do the same thing with each cigarette, but reduce one. Okay, reduce one. So if you smoke 2 packs, my goodness, you know, it's possible that we're talking about that. Well, then you smoked next day 2 packs without -1. Okay, and keep getting that minus. This is preparing you for, because you want to really quit. So if you really want to quit, by doing this process, it will help. I've suggested this to a few people, and they succeeded actually. Okay, they took their time, they became aware. But the beautiful thing about it is that while you're smoking, be fully aware you are smoking. You know, see how this filthy weed, put it in your mouth and put it on fire and smell it, and really be aware of what is happening, you know. And as you become aware of yourself, don't judge it though. I know I said filthy weed, you know, which to me it is, but don't judge it as bad or good. Just become totally aware. And as you become aware with each cigarette, you'll find that it will happen automatically. You might not even reach the end of the cigarettes by giving them up one by one. You might find even halfway through, all of a sudden your urge has gone. This has happened to a few people who are alcoholic and who are addicted to smoking, and it actually happened just when they didn't even expect it. All of a sudden the desire went. See? But anyway, this is something that you can try. Okay. Let's read another one. I didn't know that was about smoking.
Thank you for your answer. However, it seems to me I don't have the power to do anything. Everything seems to require too much effort. After practicing for some years the technique of allowing, opening to any kind of physical discomfort and relaxing, and reading spiritual books, I became lazy, passive, indifferent. I experienced low mood and apathy. I feel completely powerless, and I feel as I'm being ready to completely surrender to the flow of life. However, my rational mind tells me I'm not going to survive this way because I need to be in charge and force myself to do things in order to survive. I hope that what I wrote does make sense to you.
Yes, it does make sense, because that's how the ego works. It wants to be in control. And if it isn't in control, then you're afraid to do the spiritual way. How do I know it's going to work? How do I know it's good for me? You see what I mean? So that always raises, yeah. So, So what is happening here is there's a great need for you to remain in control. And if you pay attention to what we just talked about a little earlier about fear, embrace the fear, because that is a fear, okay? Fear of being controlled. I want to do it my way. I want to be in control. You see, but it's not working, is it? You know, people who says I want it my way, I want to be in control. Yeah, is it working? You know, of course not. So nothing works because, first of all, the one who's trying to be in control doesn't really exist. You see, this is kind of gets a little bit subtle here. Doesn't really exist. Who you are is pure awareness. You are a magnificent, infinite being. You know, and once you allow something completely without fighting it, and allow it completely and embrace it, because it is a fear, see what it can teach you by staying with it until you begin to reach moments of silence. And that silence itself will act through you. And that is the whole thing. Always remember that your true nature is silence. Okay. Namaste.